Well, hi. I thought I would give you an update. Maybe not really an update, just show you, one process I have along my journey. You guys know that I was in the hospital with an infection, and I have 6 weeks of antibiotics through what's called a PICC line, and I thought I would show you the PICC line. So this is the tubing that then comes into my arm and travels up and dumps into a vein that goes right to my heart to then be dispersed out through my body. So you may say, what in the world's all that? Well, this is a plastic barrier that covers over top of where the actual tube goes into my arm. And this is all sterile. We replaced this, the whole bandaging. There's a little thing here that actually snaps in. The actual tube snaps into this thing. I call it a butterfly. And then there's a little disc here that dispenses an antimicrobial substance, meaning that it prevents any type of infection where the tube is actually entering my skin. But I thought I would show you what goes in, what's involved and what goes on. So on the tip of this tube is a cap, and it also has, when you put it on and for the duration, it has substance in it to keep it from allowing anything to grow bacteria-wise. So anyway, my hands are nice and clean. I've already cleaned them in the sink. Sometimes they would say, or most times they might say, to use gloves. I have a hard time with that because pulling gloves out of a box does not mean that they are sterile. So, and the only way that this whole process can be sterile is to have a sterile surface, sterile gloves, wear a mask, surgical mask, not just any mask. There's just no way for it to be completely sterile unless you follow at least some of those things. Well, we don't have sterile gloves that are part of this whole process. So I think it's silly to pull gloves out of a box when they are potentially just as dirty. My hands are clean. So anyway, start with removing, well, actually, I'm going to set this down. So you start with opening the packaging for this. This is saline. It is sterile. And you use this to put through the line first and just flush the system to make sure that there are not any occlusions or blockages before you begin the antibiotic. So I will prep this in just a second. I thought I would show you the antibiotic that I'm using. So this is meropenem, and it is, this little thing is a pressurized cell that has this thing. This whole thing is filled with antibiotics called meropenem. And I don't know if you can see it. Yeah, you can see it. So this little tube's better I do it at this angle. So this little tube will actually eventually be touching that. That's one indication of it's done, but we also know that it's a 30-minute treatment. So I usually time it, and then I also watch, oh, you can see it really well here. And then I watch that this, where this edge here is, meets all the way up to the top. I don't know if you can see this line, but it's closed. I guess there are some, they might use this for maybe more antibiotics over a given time, because there's a similar line down here, and I believe it would expand as well. But that's what it'll look like. This little line that's here what this will look like when the medicine has completely dispensed or been put in my body. So I do this 3 times a day, and yeah, so I thought I'd show you the process. So this is it, And it has a long tube, so I could potentially put this, in my pocket or something and, walk around. I don't have to be sitting down. I don't have to be laying down while it's happening. I've watered my flowers. I've gone out to get my mail. All kinds of things, while I've been taking the treatment. So another part of this is alcohol wipes, and that's just to keep everything as clean as it can be through the process. So let me show you. I'll come back to this when the 30 minutes are over, but when the 30 minutes are over, I'll be doing another saline just to clear the line of antibiotics, make sure they're all in my system. And then this is heparin, and it's basically to do a lock in this tubing and in the tubing that goes up to my heart for preparation for the next one, which will be tonight before bed. So anyway, let's get started. So I usually split the alcohol, allow it to sit there, take the cap. I don't know if you can see it or not, but there's air in here. So I don't know if you've ever seen, but you've seen nurses pull down on this plunger on a syringe. It's because sometimes in this tip, there is actually medicine as well. So it's to pull it all the way, pull the medicine that may be stuck in there all the way down, and then to push all the air out. And you can see maybe a little bubble of the saline. That means that the air is out, and I can take the cap off. I can pull the alcohol wipe out, clean the end, although it should be clean because this cap had medicine in it to keep this end, this blue tip, clean. Okay, so that being clean, put the saline on. It's a screw on, and then you push the plunger down, just a little tiny bit, if you can see it. So you just creates like a little bit of a vortex. If there were any kind of type of blockage of some sort, it would help to push that out. I have not, for the duration of doing this, had any issue whatsoever. Okay, so you screw that back off. Even though I just cleaned it, and even though that was sterile, yes, still clean it again. Okay, then you take the antibiotic, making sure not to touch the tip because you've cleaned it with the alcohol. Take that cap off. Same thing. There's like a little spring in this little blue tip, if you can see it or not. There's a little spring in there, so you push down and spin. And then there are locks that you push off, and that allows the medicine to flow down through the tube. So this is what it looks like now. And when it's done, I'll come back to you and show you what it looks like when it is completely empty and the antibiotics in my system. Like I said, I do it three times in 24 hours, and for the duration of 6 weeks. We're nearing the end of that at this point, and while it's really not been an issue, it's just dealing with it. 3 times a day, again, not a really big deal, but all total, it's probably 40 minutes. Making sure your hands are nice and clean, getting the supplies out, doing it, cleaning up. Total probably about 40 minutes. And again, I mean, you think 40 minutes 3 times a day, that's no real big deal. It's just sometimes life is busy and you're doing stuff and you're like, oh, I gotta make sure I bring that with me. I gotta make sure that, wherever I'm doing it, at least the surface that you're doing it on is clean. And sometimes that's not always possible. I was just thinking to, an example, like when I say life is busy, things you can't get around. I had a funeral I had to attend recently, and the services spanned a time where I had to do my antibiotic. So, not always is the environment just wonderfully conducive to that, but I was able to get it done. Take some alcohol or Lysol wipes and, clean down, the surface that I used to set the things on. But, it's just that. It's just kind of like an inconvenience. It's not painful. It doesn't hurt. At one point it did. Like early on it really, really did. But now it doesn't. I'm really looking forward to getting it out, because in addition to having it, I can't do anything strenuous. I can't do anything more than 10 pounds with my right arm, and I'm right-handed, so pulling on things or lifting things is not supposed to exceed 10 pounds. So I've not weighed my laundry basket, and I've continued to do it, but I guess it depends on how much laundry is in there. But I'm sure there are things that, I take for granted on how much something weighs. But I have been really good about not lifting. Anybody who knows me knows that, before the surgery, I was, lifting. And I was what some people may say bulking up. The circumference of my arms and the tone of my trunk was really good. My lower extremity was not nearly as strong or fit or, as bulked up as the rest of me, because I had such limitations with my right leg. And I'm still going to have limitations, with my amputation. However, I'm not in the pain, so there's going to be things that I couldn't do before that pain prohibited that, that I'll be able to do. So, anyway, I will catch you back up here when this is all done. All right, till then. Okay, so the medicine is all gone. I can actually squeeze this down. Let's see if I can show you. Let me see. So I don't know if you can see this line or not. Right here, this line. So before that was open, that line, there was a big gap, and now it's closed. So the medicine is all done. I clamp, and then I get ready to undo this. So just spin it off, set that aside, open up my alcohol wipe, and wipe the tip of that off. And then put this down. You can have these open and ready before you clean that off, or you can do it this way. I've been doing it long enough. I've gotten very comfortable with doing it either way, not having everything completely prepped. But so I did that quickly, but you push down on the spring and spin it. and I had gotten the air out. I don't know if you saw me do that, but anyway, got the air out, and I am pushing it down, waiting, pushing it down. And then push down, spin, let that off. And one more alcohol wipe. So then you clean this one. And then you do the heparin. Same way, get the air out. Push the spring, spin the heparin, and then that one can go down quickly. And then spin, and then I grab one of my caps. Peel the tab off. This has medicine in it. You wouldn't believe it, but there's that center piece that gets pushed in when I put it on. I wanted to show you a used one so you could see that's in and that is not. So when I put this on, it will push that center up, and you can see maybe on my finger that it dripped out the medicine. Not all of it, but anyway, yeah, that's it. So then I wrap that around my arm, store it underneath there, and then this white netting is just to protect the tubing, as well as my bandage. That's it.